Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a podcast and videocast from univrm.com. Today is one of our economy articles titled Doomsday Preppers Economic Solutions, Part 4 of 10. You can see the companies referenced in this article on our website at www.univrm.com by choosing this article and looking at the companies that are referenced. In parts 1 to 3 of this series on Doomsday Preppers, and more specifically Doomsday Diamonds, we outlined the various belief systems of the Doomsday Prepper culture and some of the many reasons the culture exists. The Doomsday Prepper culture has various concerns ranging from economic collapse, supervolcanoes, tsunamis, world war, religious reasons, large asteroid, meteor, or comet collisions, the Mayan calendar, solar flares, global warming, rising ocean levels to mysterious planets on a collision course, all part of the Doomsday Prepper culture. Due to the large response to the series, we have undertaken a great deal of research into the Doomsday Prepper culture and part of the socio-economic forces driving the culture. Further, this series of economy articles offers historical and modern microeconomic and macroeconomic solutions in case or when any of these events happen. In this series of economy articles, our base assumption, whatever doomsday scenario unfolds, some amount of people survive with or without current governments. Historical records prove during the era of Homo sapiens there have been mass extinction events in which some of the species survived. As we pointed out in parts 1 to 3 of this series, each of the major barter currencies require additional knowledge. Gold, silver, and diamonds all have positive and negatives, and all require a degree of analysis to determine true value. Part 2 of the series went into detail on the basic ways diamonds are valued, how to determine value, and the most reliable sites where doomsday diamonds purchased. Part 3 discussed calibrated diamonds and how their use in the economy of doomsday preparation materials should be used. We recommend the following sites for the purchase of your doomsday diamonds. First, IsraelDiamonds.com, which has a very nice native English-speaking personnel for help and assistance. They also have an intuitive website, perfect for the do-it-yourself type of doomsday prepper and for those on a limited budget. The website an easy means for buying diamonds, calibrated diamonds, and jewelry for most of the ranges listed in the explanation for the economic values used to purchase doomsday diamonds. These descriptions, as described in part 2 of this series, calibrated diamonds in part 3 of this series, and jewelry discussed in part 5 of this series, listed on their site. The website, an excellent resource, and constantly updated pricing levels allow you to set the criteria you desire, such as price, cut, carat weight, color, and clarity. So even those on a limited budget can take advantage of diamonds as a barter commodity. There's a hypertext link to the site on our website where this article is published. The second company recommended, Merodium International, country code 323-231-3542, located in the diamond capital of the world, Antwerp, Belgium, and in part 2 of this series, we recommended you speak with any of their diamond consultants on purchasing diamonds if you wish to pay for extra help and expertise and are purchasing over $10,000. This company is staffed with experienced, professional, and honest people who will help you with your needs as a wholesale broker of diamonds, but is not for the do-it-yourself type individual. In parts 1 to 3 of this series, the economic articles pointed out some of the socio-economic forces driving the doomsday prepper culture. The people part of this culture are not wild-eyed conspiracy theorists, but pragmatic examples of humans who see the larger world around them and have consciously decided to prepare for an inevitable event. There is no rational scientist of whatever speciality who will argue against this fact planet Earth will indeed repeat planetary events it has experienced in the past, including what are commonly referred to as mass extinction events. As pointed out in all the previous economy articles of this series, it really is a matter of when, not if. In general, doomsday preppers, whether a doomsday event happens within their lifetime or not, preparing for this inevitability in varying degrees of foresight and preparedness based on either a single event motivation, for example, fear of an economic collapse, or a general recognition of historic patterns in both human and planetary history. During the course of preparing these economy articles and researching the Doomsday Prepper culture, one can't help but become intrigued. Whatever doomsday event takes place, it certainly is a matter of when, not if, and the lack of foresight and preparedness by almost every government, except perhaps the Swiss, truly amazing. So far, 2 quotes used in this series. The first from Dr. Stephen Hawking in part 2 of this series of economy articles on the need for humanity to move beyond this planet due to the simple fact doomsday events have and will happen sometime between now and the next 1,000 years. The second quote, used in part 3 of this series of economy articles from an article by Andrew Sullivan, pointing out an obvious truism that humans must give up power over others because power, if it is to be effective, ultimately requires the threat of violence, and violence is incompatible with acceptance. Both positions are true, but both likely to be at some future point after rebuilding from a doomsday event. One must survive these events in order to remake human civilization into a true reflection of physiological, psychological, and awareness of the diversity and the individuality of humans, not unlike diamonds, and the environment, plus a much longer view of time. Whether it is the oppression of women, biologically viable reproductive humans, now called children to random ages beyond reproductive viability, or those of different belief systems, i.e. religious, political, ethnic, sexuality, etc., historical enslavement, restrictions, and tribal domination must cease to exist in order to build a global civilization not based on violence, terror, and subjugation. Whether or not this may happen after a doomsday event will decide the credibility of any true long-term viability of the human species. This, of course, irrelevant if there is not enough biological diversity to create a new order not based on 30,000-year-old incremental mentalities of repeating mythical hypocrisies. In this article, part 4 of our economy articles on doomsday preppers and economic solutions, and more specifically doomsday diamonds, we explain rough diamonds. Rough diamonds are diamonds in their natural states. In mineralogy, diamond an allotrope of carbon. Carbon atoms arranged in a variation of cubic crystal structures called a diamond lattice. Diamonds renowned for their physical qualities, most of which originate from the strong bonding between atoms. Diamond the highest hardness and thermal conductivity of any bulk material. Diamonds also have optical characteristics. Extremely rigid lattice in diamonds means contamination possible through very few types of impurities. This results in the clear appearance of most natural diamonds. Small amounts of defects or impurities, about 1 per million of lattice atoms, colored diamonds, blue for boron, yellow for nitrogen, brown for lattice defects, and green for radiation exposure, purple, pink, orange, or red, also affected by radiation exposure. Diamond also has relatively high optical dispersion, resulting in their characteristic luster. Most natural diamonds formed at high temperature pressure depths of 140 to 190 kilometers or 87 to 120 miles in the Earth's mantle. Carbon minerals, the source and growth occurs over periods from 1 billion to 3.3 billion years, 25% to 75% of the age of the Earth. Diamonds brought to Earth's surface through deep volcanic eruptions by magma, which cools into igneous rocks known as kimberlites and lamporites. Break. Diamond is the hardest known natural material on the Mohs scale of mineral hardness, where hardness is defined as resistance to scratching and is graded between 1, the softest, and 10, the hardest. Diamonds have a hardness of 10, hardest on this scale. Diamond's hardness known since antiquity and is the source of its name. The modern use of diamonds greatly affected by quantum computing to replace integrated circuits and computer chips as the largest industrial use of diamonds in future, depending on when any doomsday event takes place. There's a hypertext link on our site to show you how diamonds will be used within computers in future. There is also pictures of how a rough diamond looks before removal from a rock if taken from a primary deposit, as well as how various other rough diamonds look depending on where found and removed from and any other source. When a rough diamond is cut, it has the same scale of values presented in part 2 of this series of economy articles. Prior to cutting a rough diamond, price influenced by many criteria, not anything we advise for doomsday preppers due to the complexity of determining value. The basic criteria for buying, selling, bartering rough diamonds includes knowledge of crystalline structure, stones, shapes, cleavages, macles, and flats. This means, depending on the rough diamond, when cut, the rough diamond will yield between 25 to 50% of initial carat weight before determining clarity. Due to all these complexities, the barter value of rough diamonds is currently more difficult to determine, and after any doomsday event, too problematic to consider as a barter material. Unless you're an expert at cutting, polishing, and determining a rough diamond's value before it is cut and polished, this will not be good barter material. This is the end of part 4 of 10, and will be continued in the next part of our economy article series on doomsday preppers and doomsday diamonds. Copyright 2012, univrm.com, trademarked, all rights reserved. At univrm.com, we create original content with humor and satire on current event news, opinion articles, economy articles, science current events, and our science fiction book series titled Change Hope. As an advertisement, there is a donations accepted button on our website, www.univrm.com, and donations welcome to help us keep publishing in difficult economic times. As a second advertisement, please remember univrm.com offering our science fiction book series Change Hope, released as a series on a chapter and book-by-book basis, like the old Amazing Stories magazine. Change Hope available in all ebook formats and as an audiobook. You can download the first chapter free by going to www.univrm.com/downloads/. You can listen to this article via podcast at the iTunes Store by subscribing to univrm.com, or read it on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at the UNIVRM channel. This has been a podcast and videocast by univrm.com, and we hope to bring you more in future.